So I just recorded a tiny little, like 20-minute snippet in German, because I just naturally started talking in German, but I was like, nah, I actually wanna, there's more that I wanna share now. Somehow it was important that I speak just a little bit in my mother tongue. But yeah, so now I'm switching. And I'm very grateful to be here. I'm very grateful to be alive. I'm very grateful I can use my voice, I can use my hands. I am still able to sit upright at 9:30 or something, and I'm awake. I've been wanting to talk more into this little phone thingy, and to you, whoever is listening, and also to just like share and express for a while, but it was just not like in my physical capability. And I'm also trusting that there is timing, and timing is usually also alignment. Yeah, blah 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 blah. I'm gonna explain it, but yeah, I've been wanting to come back on here after recording this first one that took me a lot to upload, being so imperfectly perfect and raw. Not the rawness, but like it annoyed me with the sound. Tried to fix it, wasn't fixing it, and then I was like, I'm just being so confronted. And like I knew I had to upload it. It was like, you have to do it, otherwise you're probably not going to record another one, or just start collecting. Like a pattern would have been like, oh, I'll just do a new one, and then I'll keep this one on my drive, and then when the other one is like good enough, I would upload it, right? And then I'm like, fuck this shit, like I'm good enough for myself, like I can just like accept myself as it is right now. And I see, because it's like, it makes no sense, you know, like when you have this old, sometimes we have this voice of an old pattern that still wants to like, yo, don't you run around me? I'm that like familiar pattern of yours, like, you know? And then you're listening to it, and you're just like, that makes no sense at all. Like, you know, when you've actually like outlived it, and maybe it's still like somewhere in the data bank, yeah, or like in a zip file in the trash folder. But it's like, it can still make noise, but when you listen to it, you're like, but this makes no sense, like this is not my truth. Like you've actually like gone beyond it. So it was really important for me to just like upload it, and then also not justify it. Almost there. Yeah, and I'm very happy. Like I really feel like I want to do this more. It gets me excited, and it's also, it feels like it's also very good for me, since right now I am not yet able to dance or move or do other things that I most likely like to do, to express or be creative. And a few times I've asked God or asked other people, and just like passively spoke through it, or there'd be like some weird ass signs or something of like, okay, start speaking. Just recorded without no attachment of the outcome. Like even if it's just for me, even if there's like one person listening or not, like it doesn't even matter. Like it's about the process. And I do have genuine excitement for it, without like, I have no idea where this is supposed to go, you know? But right now this is like where I'm at, so I follow. And yeah, so I'm very grateful. What wants to be shared? First of all, maybe a little bit, because people are asking me, and I'm not like sharing the entire thing of what's been happening with my body. Also, because I don't fully know. I do, and this is, usually the easier part for me, like I usually do know, sense, or receive, kind of like knowing, or like I can understand the picture of why it's happening energetically, where this is like, I don't know why it's going to be good for me, but I know like this is a part of the process, right? And I've gone through something like this before. And I also know like the planetary thing that we're going through, and like all the cosmic shifts and all the upgrades, and our bodies literally changing, and like everyone having such big challenges. And while we're experiencing different types of stories, we're all going through it, we're all in it. At least the people that are shifting, they're in it. Maybe the people that are not, and who knows if they're NPCs after all, or they just choose to stay where they're at, they're not having as intense processes. And also not disvalidating of people who like maybe have already like processed more. This is also, you know, true. But I can see that we're all, you know, purifying. And some of the things I don't know, like I've had this question with one of my friends, whether this is like some sort of like pain body activation, because maybe the pain body is ready to be held and to be seen and to be integrated as it is, without it needing to be alchemized. Like this is just something that I'm like, could be nonsense, could be just me or us, or like maybe it makes no sense, but this is just like something that came up yesterday. And I'm like, maybe this pain body, yeah, and like maybe, you know, when we talk about ascension, yeah, maybe the pain body is ascending because now it's finally able to be held purely in love, with the safety that it needed, without gaslighting or needing at the same time to like release it, make it good. Yeah, maybe it can just be present. And maybe this is why a lot of people are also having a lot of pain coming up, or like crazy fatigue, because maybe there was fatigue for a long time, you know. Maybe it's just ascending from something that was more unaware, and like now the light's just like, you know, shattering all of us, hitting all of the little corners. Oh, I got goosebumps. And yeah, so maybe this is part of it. And maybe it also doesn't want it to be regulated. Maybe it just wants to be acknowledged, loved, and maybe released, or maybe incended, integrated, where like maybe the pain body and the light body can just go through. Don't know yet. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, okay. So little bits of what's been happening, because maybe I'll talk more about it, because I feel like it's a lot, and right now also I'm feeling really dizzy. Basically I went from super healthy to having a seizure at night, and then I kind of woke up in a different body. It's what it feels like, right? And this is like, I'm like, oh, maybe that's pain body, because like obviously it's still mine. I don't want to like, I'm saying it, and the wording kind of feels separating, but I don't know a better way to word it yet. It's still my body, but like it felt the opposite of like being so happy. And it was funny because I even shared it on social media. I'm like, oh, I'm so grateful. Like I think 2 days before it happened, of like this crazy strong body and like everything it can do, and I love my body so much, and I love my vitality, and da 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 da. And then it was like, poof. It's like, even the fact that I could move my hands like this right now, and I had the strength, like I noticed that that's how like crazy intense the last few, like 2 months have been. And today is one of the days that I actually feel like I have more energy, and it's also blah blah blah, also coming towards ovulation. And I noticed last time that when I was ovulating I had a really good day, the 2 days. So yeah, like if you think about it, like this is normal movement. I just noticed that I can actually do that. So I had seizures. I thought I was dying. I'm gonna do this short because I feel like it's not ready to talk about all of this. But I had seizures, didn't know where it was coming from. They thought I had focal epilepsy. They retracted. They already had given the diagnosis. They retracted the diagnosis. Yeah. I don't. Okay, it doesn't want to be spoken. So honor that. But basically, there's been loads of neurological symptoms, and the most confronting and debilitating and scary one. Okay, I'm running out of battery, so I'll wrap it. Is my whole body going numb. Like it started with a few things and it became more and more, hitting a point where like wasn't able to move my hand for an entire day, except for like 2 hours at night where I could kind of move it. Like I lost motor function, and small seizures still, big seizures, things like cataplexy where you just like lose muscle tone, and it can be triggered through, and this is also with a sleep disorder that happened, like it's all happening in my brain. And it's mostly affecting my motor skills, so can't dance. And this where I'm like, well, I had the strength, even though my arms feel tired. Most days, like it's been like this, where like I lift a fork to my mouth, and it takes it feels like I'm lifting like 10 kg at least. Like it's an actual like. Yeah, sometimes can't speak either. And yeah, so this is like me right now, pretty good. I also get out of breath from like nothing. But there's like loads of like different things, but those are like the ones that I'm sharing now that have like really impacted me in my life. And shout out to my mom, she's been taking greatest care of us. It's been babysitting us. I have like a emergency button even, like to call her, like next to my bed. And yeah, a lot of hospital visits, blah blah blah. Basically, to make long story short, there is something inflaming, looks like inflaming my brain lining. The most scary to me, because I have like every single symptom that you can have for MS, and they just did another scan now after 2 months, because the first scan they didn't do properly. So now they took a proper scan, MRI of the brain and the spine, and I was so relieved that there is no lesions and like no scarring on any of it. And like it really, yeah, it was worth just doing that for the peace. I was like, because I was freaking out while still trusting, but like I definitely had crazy amounts of fears where like, because it happens also more at night, where there was a few days where like it was so intense and I couldn't move, where like can't feel anything, where I can't, move my hand, and it's just like this, and I'm like, fuck, like I was fucking scared to fall asleep and wake up like not being able to move. And like like, you know, playing with my children or not being able to feel their touch. Like, that's some scary shit. And it's very okay to be scared of this while also trusting. And I like had to like, and still like, it's probably not the last time where like, or maybe I hope so, would be great. Where like, I actually have to let go of the fear that one night it was so bad. Like, I was hugging my mom good night, and I couldn't hug her. Like, I could only like place my arms with a lot of effort, and I could not like even do this. And like, I cried for, I don't know, 2 hours in my bed. Because not being able to do this is like, whoa, so confronting, especially if like movement is everything to you. And like, it used to be so easy for me. And it's funny because like I look at myself in the mirror and I haven't like, you know, done yoga or anything really. Like, been physically almost laid down most of the time. Yeah. And I look at myself and I'm like, I still have abs. But it's like, it makes no sense because I can't use them. It's so weird, you know? And you have strong muscles and you dance all the time. And then it's also like, oh, I can't. It's like, this is my main tool to somatically work with my body and movement and like process things and balance myself and da-da-da-da-da. And then you're stripped of it. Just another ego death. And like, yeah, after I cried for so long, I was like, I need to make peace with to let go of whatever you feel like healing looks like. Because I don't know, like, is the healed version of myself gonna be able to move or not? Because we would determine, I'm like, oh yeah, of course, like if you're healed, like you should be able to like move and stuff. But I don't know the divine plan. Like, I can only like, sometimes we have glimpses, sometimes we have visions, but who knows, like even the visions could just be like fuel to get you somewhere, but you don't know the entire plan. Like, we agreed to forget, right? So I'm like, I don't know if it's in my divine plan to be able, in this next version of myself that's birthing, am I gonna be able to move the same way or not? And I'm like, can I make peace with that? Like, can I release the fear? Because the fear is going to eat me. Like, you shall not fear. Every religion, even though I'm not a religion person, but I believe in God and, you know, all of that and more. But like, all of the sacred paths and scriptures, all of them say this, and it's like, yeah, we shall not fear. You also shall not bypass fear, because fear is also like, if we were not meant to have fear, we would have not been born by it. It's also by divine design. If you had no fear, well, there's actually a tiger running after you, trying to eat you, like, that'd be fatal, right? But fear is its purpose, and fear is not supposed to eat you, it's supposed to show you something, or become aware of something, you know, you can use it. And we also can be that courageous and that full of light that we can actually feel through the fear. Because when we feel through something, that's when we own it. That's when we are with it, we meet it, and then it doesn't spiral. It doesn't eat you. So yeah, going into the fear, I'm like, okay, so maybe if I wake up tomorrow and I can't move, I'm like, I'm still alive, right? And then I'm like, what if I die, right? I go into it. And I shared some of that in the last podcast. Yeah, so and then I talked not too long ago with my friend about anxiety, because the anxiety, right, comes up. It's fear and anxiety. And then I was like, whoa, I realized the good side of anxiety. Like, you know how like under every emotion, there's also, if you go down, 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 you'll meet love. There'll be love underneath. And then anxiety, I was like, we always push it aside, we always disown it, we separate from it, like anxiety, like especially spiritual or like conscious community, like anxiety, you have a fucking problem, yo. Go meditate. Sometimes you can't meditate anxiety away. Sometimes you have to work with it and like own it. Yeah, hug it. Anxiety, I'm like, okay, so what's the, I was like just like sitting there, I'm like thinking about how like there was a lot of anxiety present, or like waves of anxiety, like spurges, right? And we've always felt things come up like this, human nature, yeah, especially in this like dysregulating system that's still active around us, like everything's set up for that. But I think, I know a lot of us have moved through a lot of anxiety, or like also the solar flares and all of this, it comes like, and anxiety, the other like side of the coin, like it's the same thing, same process pretty much in the body, or somatic process, similar, very similar process of anxiety. And the other side of the coin is excitement, right? So this I knew like how to flip it. I've known this for a long time. But then this day I was like, what is actually the benefit of anxiety? And I realized I had a lot of anxiety spurges, but I wasn't in my core state, I wasn't anxious. I was like, I'm still calm, grounded as I can be, and I'm not saying the most grounded, because also like, come on, like everything's happening in my brain, it's like ground check, like yeah, and then the anxiety, I realized it's a rush, right? It's like in your body, and by being with that anxiety, not bypassing it, I realized I have used it the last 2 months. I used it as like fuel, basically, to go super fast. You know, when you have those computer games and you have the fast track where you're like, you know, you're controlling the vehicle, and then there are the lines on the track, and when you go over it, it goes. That's how I used it, and I was like, fuck, like thank you. And like how I feel like my inner masculine has used it instead of being owned by it, because I was like, okay, like, and this is like something where it's different, right? When you're like, oh, okay, I'm feeling anxiety. Like, first of all, like once you notice it and it's aware, it's a whole different ball game, right? Don't loop like this. You can like feel it, you can be with it, blah, 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 blah. But what it helped me do was to create really fast aligned action. And I was so surprised by this. I'm like, wow, who would have known? Who would have known anxiety can do that? And like, that really helped me. I'm like, wow. I used it as like, poo, poo, poo. Because it, instead of creating a freeze response, which is my natural, like, or programmed state of like, whenever I felt anxious in my life, I would like look super calm on the outside. Like when you see me like super calm, I'm usually like freaking anxious inside. This is what I used to be like. The more calm and contained and quiet I'd be in a space, you're like, oh, she's freaking anxious, like if you know me. Like it creates the opposite picture. And then also from blah, 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 past mechanisms and stuff. But I'm like, this time I didn't freeze. This time I acted. I used it. I was like, whoa, anxiety. Looking at it, being with it, what are the actions possible? You know, like when you have this rush, yeah, and you're like in a fight or flight, and I'm not gonna freeze, but I'm actually gonna choose the most efficient. And that's what I've done. I'm like, whoa. Otherwise, this whole process, like of like the last 2 months, it would have taken me so much longer. Yeah, so aho to how anxiety can actually also be helpful. And it's not always a bad thing. It's how we use it. It's always like this. It's how we use it, how we feel through it. Picture is going to be the same, but you can color it. That's how I see life. Okay, so thank you for listening. One more thing I would like to share is, because I've been asked this multiple times now, what does a seizure feel like? I'm gonna pause this because I don't know how much battery I have. So in case the battery goes off, I at least have the other bit saved. I'm learning from past mistakes. Yeah, so oh, I'm actually heat wave right now. How seizures feel like depends on the seizure, but I can now, after a while, and it didn't take that many times to happen, but I realized quite quickly that there is like a pre-feeling, and after reading up on it, that's apparently like a thing. They call it aura. I don't know why they call it aura, but they call it that in medical terms, that like people who will feel a seizure approaching, many of them feel an aura, experience an aura before. It doesn't have to do anything with the auric field, but like as a spiritual language, but maybe it's connected because maybe something in your field, maybe something in your aura does shift. There is, you know, like these dogs that you, like people with epilepsy sometimes get, or like Parkinson's. There's helper dogs, and there's some trained to help you in a seizure, or like to call help, or press a button if you have some stuff going on wired in your body. And then there's dogs that can pre-feel the seizure coming on, and they'll like alarm the person so that they get into a safety position, for example to sit down or get to a bench, depending on how long people usually feel the aura approaching, so that they wouldn't, like if you have general epilepsy, where like this is what most people know, when like the whole body convulses and people are actually absent in consciousness, and like they get blue and blah blah blah. So when they have seizures, right, they might just like collapse on the floor, and it might be dangerous, like while they're like walking outside or something. So these dogs actually help them to get into a safe place, which is so cute. Like, shout out to all the dogs. Yeah, and it's interesting because dogs, they're not trained specifically for it. They will get training, but they select dogs that already are sensitive enough, that have like a sensitivity to pick it up. Yeah, and then they train them to like, and they, I think already at 3 weeks or some crazy stuff, maybe 3 months. Like they're super small when they pick them. And then they will train them how to like communicate it with the person and blah, blah, blah. And then they will get attuned to the person. So the dog is actually like, you know, attuning to your field, and they will notice when something in your energetic, in your electric, magnetic field, that by the way is a real thing, is not a spiritual bubble for those people that maybe are not so accustomed to what I'm talking about. Your body has a physical magnetic field. This is why things like an MRI even works, because it goes through magnetism. Like it's brain, the heart, are the big magnetic pulses that we have, but like you can actually like see it on a computer. So like, you know, it's real. Accept it. research it. So when people talk about like energy and like auras and stuff, like, yeah, there actually is a field around your body and it can shift. Yeah, so what do they feel like? I can't really say or explain, like I don't have the words yet for like how the aura type of sensation, like the pre-feeling that I get, I don't really know how to express it. It's a very distinct weird feeling. Like I can just say I feel weird. I feel like reality is kind of like my sensory perception will shift, where like everything becomes heightened, right? So like light, noise, and I don't have it a long time, and sometimes just before it like really hits, I have this weird sensation like woo, kind of like it goes woo. I've had the few times first, like before I knew what was happening, I thought I was gonna throw up too, but I didn't. But like I actually like went to the toilet, and I'm not a puker, more of a pooper. And then I was like, that time I was like, oh, I have to throw up. And then I was like, no, I need to shit. And then like went in the toilet, and then I collapsed. And like I just like, while I was like collapsing, I was like pulling my pants up. Yeah, so there was this where it feels like, and it kind of like, it feels like, I don't know, like similar maybe to vertigo, but it's not vertigo. But it feels like shimmery. I've never taken ketamine before. I also don't intend to. But for those that have, I imagine from what people have told me, what that feels like feels a bit similar. Like it's almost like everything becomes kind of like wobbly. I don't know. And sometimes it's also like my brain will feel a bit also weird, like kind of like, you know, when you're on a boat and the waves they go, but like there's like slow waves, and it feels kind of like this, like it's a physical sensation, but because I don't have any other physical sensations, I feel. But this is like the closest I can get with my words. And then all the seizures that I've had, I've always remained fully conscious. Maybe fully conscious is a big word, but like I don't lose consciousness and I remember everything that happened. But sometimes or like the more extreme ones, because there's small seizures and there's big seizures. Now I'm just talking about the bigger ones. But they're like, I can feel myself in two spaces at once, if that makes sense. But I'm fully aware, and I'm fully aware of both states. So I'm holding both states. Yeah. As in, say like, for example, if my body is convulsing, yeah, and I have like a lot of spasmings going through. And by the way, I've had my Kundalini awakening, I've been working with it, blah, 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 blah. This is not like, this is what's happening. Yes, it's also Kundalini energy, but it's not like I'm having my first Kundalini experience and It's something that's actually changing in this structures of my, like if we think about moving to 5D, and we're, you know, as I said, it could be pain body stuff, or it could also, I think it's both actually. It's also like that something is shifting in my brain where like we're gonna shift our bodies while we've already shifted the other bit, and maybe right now my body also has a little bit of challenging to keep up with the other part that's already shifted, and it's like whoop, 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 whoop. Jumping back and forth. But there's a different hook. So yeah, this is how I always talk, by the way. This is not new. I go not so linear, I hope you can follow. And also, whatever you need to hear, you will hear. Whatever you don't need to hear, you don't need to hear. And sometimes someone speaks and you're not even listening to what they're speaking, but you will hear your own, because you are tapped into the same field. Then you will hear from your own self, or from directly from source, whatever you need to hear. So even if you drift off and you cannot follow what I'm talking about, right, you might still hear something for yourself. So I'm convoluting a lot, and then I'm feeling all of myself, all of my body, and I'm like noticing it all. It almost feels like I'm in the control center of my brain, whatever that place is, even if it's not in the brain. But let's take Inside Out, the movie, for example, right? They have a control center there. So I'm there and I have these screens of like, okay, this is like like this part of the brain, this part of the brain. I'm not going to say the names of different parts of the brain that are, doing different things, or like are, processing this or this or this. And I see them as like screens, and I'm like in this like center. And like, for example, I can see the screen for like motor functions, right? Like right arm. And it's like, oh, right arm's moving, right arm's moving. And I'm like, did I make right arm move? Because it's like I have this thought, and I'm like, oh, right arm is moving. It's like a notice, right? But I'm like, I didn't press the button for it to move. And then I'm like, but that's weird. Like, am I making a move? Because I know it's moving. It's such a weird thing to talk about. And then I'm like, no, because I'm like trying to turn it off. And I'm like, I'm trying to stop it. It's not stopping. I'm like, I'm not moving it. But I'm like, I see it's moving. And like, I notice and I feel that it's moving. I'm like, then I should also be able to make it stop, right? And it's like, I'm trying to stop it. It's like, this not stopping. And then also on this, I have noticed that the more I fight it, the more resistance I have to it, the stronger it gets. So I try now to just like surrender and like allow it to happen. And then it goes softer, it feels. At least for now, that's what I've just noticed. I don't know if this is a general thing, but I believe like if you have resistance, there's more stress created in your body, right? So, and stress never good. So then I can see it. I can't make it stop. And it almost has like a deja vu type of feeling where I'm like, but did I make it move? I'm like, no. And like, and still like when I have them, I think the last one I didn't have this. I'm like, okay, I'm really like, I can believe I'm not making a move. But it's such a weird sensation, guys. So weird. And then, I'm in this control center and I see everything. And like, I'm fully like feeling it physically, right? I'm like fully in the body, like, because I'm this much in the body that I'm almost locked inside of it, can't control it, literally just experiencing what the body does, right? And I can't speak. Because motor function of the mouth, I can fully think, I can fully verbalize a sentence in my head. So I'm not like lacking the words. When I try to speak, it goes like noise will come out because I'm trying to make a noise, but the mouth, the tongue isn't moving the way it's supposed to make the word. And then I'm fully in the body, and I'm also, and this is where it gets so weird, where I'm like, I'm in two states at once. I'm also seeing myself from above myself. So there's part of me where it's like fully in the body and kind of hovering above the body, and I can see myself from the outside of how my body is moving or what my face is looking like. Is it like ran out of battery? But funnily, I just checked, the footage was kept. Yay! And I was like, already like, oh, okay, maybe not yet. And then I was like, maybe I'll just start talking about it again from the beginning. I'll be okay with we're doing it, we're not doing it. But I was like, whatever. And then it's there, you know, it's so funny because I don't remember the last time this has happened when I like record like movement sessions or something. It's just like it doesn't come back, and I'm like, oh, the lightning went off, and I was like, you know, I recorded for like 30 minutes straight. The thing is, by the way, like with recording dancing or movement or something, or like probably also when you're singing, I don't know if you've noticed that, like when you leave it on for a long time, you're so much more in your pure, true, authentic state, because you completely forget that the camera is there. But then I've had such a difficult time with this, where like I completely forget, and then I get like actually the purest form, yeah, or like the highest vibration I actually get captured, and then I ran out of storage, and it wasn't kept, or the battery went off, so I like started to retake it, but then it like disrupts my flow, and it's not the same like when I just dance for myself, or for God, or the moment, or for nothing at all, because yeah, every time it like puts you back into the other brain state. And yeah, it's funny that this time now, like, it actually got recorded, because non-attachment. So what was I saying last? I see myself like I'm fully in the body, but I can also see myself from above. So that it was funny because the first, or not so funny actually, but like the first seizure that I like, also my face was jerking. I was like, fuck. And like that time my mom was there too. And it was so scary for her. Like, also as a mom myself, like it takes so much strength to see your child like this and not being able to help, like not being able to change anything about it. And while not being able to speak for my mom, I think that's something maybe she's facing. And I don't want to share too much, but like my mom, like the last 2 years, she's basically just been taking care of people. And like I do my best to also take care of her. And like the mission she's on right now, also like we say Hut ab in German, where like you lift your hat. And like this year for all of us has started with her favorite, or like closest brother, also favorite, you're not supposed to say that when you have many. The fact that he's still alive is not just one miracle, but like a sequence of miracles, like fucking crazy. And just taking care of him, in between taking care of my dad, whom she was already taking care of before. And this is like all physically, medically. And then we came here, my best friend and cousin, she had something with the brain. They told us brain tumors, and like she lost her whole memory. I'm not gonna share her story though. Maybe she'll share. But yeah, so crazy. And then this happened, and like it's funny how like this year started with this for her already before, but like this year extreme, like all like close circle. And like for me also like kind of this year, also because like my year either starts with Chinese New Year or with so you know the word's gone. Not solstice. Like yeah, because it's not important. But in spring, yeah. So when the actual like world celebrates the new year, depending on where you're at. Because if you're on the other side of the equator, then that's your new year when it births. Anyway, because the new year that we're celebrating in the West is just like made up, like makes no sense. Like it's just like fucking, yeah, different topic. But let's say it's not working for you, but you can make it for you and you can make it fun. But once you're aware of it, what's happening. Same with Christmas and stuff. Anyway, so it started with this, and then saw my cousin while I came here. Then one of my close friends in KP, also at the same time. And then another person, like I had 3 people that are close to me in a span of 3 weeks where I was like, fuck, like they might go, like they might transition. And then towards the end of the year, I'm like, oh, I'm in this? You know, like, it's not just coincidence. These things happening for a reason. So I see myself outside of myself and inside of myself. I'm having a slightly out-of-body experience while having an inside-body experience. An inner body experience where I'm like inside the body. The first time I had it, I also had a conversation with Jesus and Mary Magdalene. They both came in. Yeah, that was the first one was the most DMT like. I also thought, like, I had no idea, like, I was having a seizure. I thought I was having a stroke. Like, that's what I thought was going on. Yeah, and something that I've now noticed, it's like I have this, it feels like I'm, let's just say it without judging it, doesn't need to be good or bad, but like I get a sensation like I'm hanging on a thread. And like often I'm also like upside down or I'm falling upright, and this is something, this like falling upright sensation or like flipping like out of my body where I like end up mirrored. Like this I know from inner dance, and I think it's like where like you enter the non-inverted matrix because this one's inverted. Maybe not the one that I'm speaking in right now, but like, you know, what you see in your day-to-day life, or most of us still see, or are still like, that's where we were born in. And then this hanging on a thread, like I can't, it's like the best words I have for it because it feels like I'm like hanging on a thread. I'm like, so weird, like I'm inside of my body, but I'm also like out of it, and it's just like this small thread. This is something I will explore if there's more seizures coming, or big seizures, or maybe they're not, maybe they're also done, like I don't know, right? But that's something where like I don't really know what that is yet. I have ideas, but those are just ideas, and yeah. It's interesting though to like hold both states. Kind of like, how can you be like super inside of your body where you're like sitting almost like in a centerpiece of your brain, and then at the same time you can like look down on yourself? Crazy. To add to this, there was also been like, how do I call it? Let's just call it what I call it and not what medicine calls it. A different pattern in how you sleep. And like it has a name, and there's, so you could look up narcolepsy is when people usually like there's two types, and there's one where like people just like fall asleep, like you know when you're sleepy, but their daytime sleepiness is like I think 20 times more than a normal sleepy person. So you can't compare like when you say like you're sleepy, like those people are so sleepy that they fall asleep. They literally pass out multiple times a day. Or at least once or something, I don't know. But like when it goes back, like I met someone who had it, she was like, she could not stay awake. She would just like, it would happen more and more when like 5 times a day, she would just like just like, and she'd nap like a switch. There's something where like, also like, and there's a second type, and I'm not exactly sure because I've been more investigating with the second type. But so I don't know if it happens in the first type too. But what happens with the second type? And so some dude, some dude, he's the coolest dude of a neurologist. Like thank God for him, and he called his practice Seizures. That's how like I got to him, and because everyone else was closed, and I was like, okay, let's like look in the city that I prefer anyway, like next door town. Like I really like being there, and I would, if I had to stay here, which I hope not, but say I did, I would rather live there because I like to spend my time there. There's crazy ass ley lines and massive rocks formation that have extreme beauty, mysticism, many stories. Very, very special place. And so I checked there, and that was like the first like neurologist I found. It was that name, Seizures. I'm like, yo. I called him up and he was available the next week. Such a blessing. Yeah, I actually want to like, even if you don't care, like I just want to express how grateful for him, for this doctor, and whether or not he actually ends up helping me or not, but he has rewritten with me together the experience that I've had with doctors. Because back then when I had that disease and that illness, I've seen so many doctors and I've not met a doctor like him. Like he actually, like he has emotional intelligence, awareness, and he has presence. Like he actually listens to you. Like when I came, he worked with this chair like this close to me, and he was like, tell me. And then he was like, tell me more. And he was not even just listening to what I was saying, but he was like observing my body language and this and that. And I'm like, whoa, this dude's like intelligent and he's fucking funny. I'm like, I wonder if he's a Sagittarius rising or something, because I vibe with him, and he like reminds me so much of my ex-partner's dad, but in a healthier version. Just like his vibe, it's like, whoa, so cool. Yeah, so he was like, yo, like some of these seizures, they look like cataplexies, which is like where you lose muscle tone, triggered by an emotion. Can be any emotion, differs from people. Most people don't even know this thing exists, but apparently there was a Netflix series where like one girl, she has it and it's triggered when she laughs. This is what, if people know it, they know it is that people laugh really, really hard and then they pass out for a few seconds. Like, and this like passing out, it's like you lose muscle tone, but you're fully there in your head. You're not asleep, but you can't move your body, so you just go, whoop, right? And then depending, some people is like 5 seconds, and it can like differ from the time it happens. Not always has to be like 20 seconds long, or it can be like 2 minutes, right? You're just like there, and like, what happens? And it's so crazy with the brain. The brain is freaking amazing, yo. So the brain induces REM state. I don't know how much people know about the brain. So REM is rapid eye movement. It's when you sleep and dream. This is the state. And while you dream, your body paralyzes itself, so you cannot act out your dream. Otherwise, we would all be like doing all of the things that we do in our dreams. So it kind of like paralyzes it. And when you experience sleep paralysis, which by the way I've been experiencing all my life, like I remember as a small child I would experience it, but I didn't know what it was. And when you experience sleep paralysis, it's you wake up during REM state. So you were supposed to be deep sleep dreaming, you wake up, you can't move your body because your brain is still in REM. So like the neurotransmitters and hormones and stuff that make your body go are still there, even though you already woke up. I forgot what I was getting at with this. Just like fascinating about the brain right now. So just gonna keep with the fascination because I share with my beautiful sister-in-law who came today, and she took care of us and cooked us food. I'm just so happy she was here, being in the village. Thank you, Jordan. Yeah, and then your body has hypocretin, or also called orexin, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. This and histamine that keep you awake, which is funny in itself because like I knew like the brain induces like, for example, melatonin to make you sleep, right? There's things that make you sleep, but there's also like actual enzymes in your brain, neurons and stuff, like transmitters that are making your brain, like your being, to stay awake. And if you've ever like, you know, like what is the dream? Which one's the dream? Like right now I'm dreaming, like I'm speaking to you, but actually I'm dreaming because the real true reality, yeah, is that of the soul. And right now my soul is having a human experience, so that is actually the dream, right? And then I notice myself being a little bit, I don't want to take myself back because I'm like, oh, I don't know if people, like, I don't know who's listening to me. I don't know if they get it. It doesn't actually matter because people who are vibrating with me will. So then this is the dream, yeah? And it's funny because there's something in your brain that keeps you asleep. Like we're now saying it keeps you awake, right? So orexin is keeping you awake. And if you don't have enough, that's when like your body will induce, it can, like if it doesn't have enough, it will, how to say, like substitute it with histamine to stay awake. But still, like, it's just like, it's so funny. And then if you don't have enough, your body will induce REM state. So the state where we say we dream, right? And it's so trippy. And oh yeah, now I remember why I was getting at it, because I was saying the seizures is also like, I feel like I can, like, because I'm conscious while they're happening, I don't lose full consciousness. Like some people lose full consciousness, right? And then they also don't remember what happened, and they'll like lose bladder function and stuff. But I'm like there. And then the sleep thing is also like, you're fully conscious, but your body physically, your brain, your body actually enters REM. So you're paralyzed, you can't move. Maybe you have some spasms that you also sometimes have with falling asleep. But that's where you're at. And you're basically holding dream state and holding conscious wakefulness inside yourself. Yeah. Wow, I love how alive I feel right now and how much vitality. I'm so grateful, especially because I don't know how long it's gonna last. I haven't felt this much energy, like physical energy, in a long time. And yeah, so that's trippy. And this dream thing, like, maybe I feel like now, I don't know whether or not I'm experiencing cataplexies. I think so. After reading up on it, I'm like, yeah. And then I was reading up on this whole like narcolepsy thing, where like the sleep alteration, and I'm like, I've always had that. I just didn't know it was a thing. But I didn't have cataplexies, so like that's totally new. Although there's 2 moments in my life where I've had experienced this, but I thought, like the first time, I thought someone put drugs inside my drink, and that's why it happened. But I lately remembered this, and I'm like, was it actually? Was it actually? Because I never knew, like, that's when I was like, what, 16, 17? So I thought someone had put the drops, and I only had a sip because I noticed I had someone else's cup. But yeah, so I'm like, I don't actually know, but I've not really had it. But the difference in sleep I've definitely had, like always. Just didn't know, like, I don't know if anyone has ever had this feeling of you're falling asleep, or like you're about to sleep, right? You're in bed and you're thinking, and then suddenly you're like, wait, am I sleeping? Nah, I'm thinking, but your body is already asleep, and you're like, ah. And then you wait and you wait and you wait for your mind to also shut down and like enter sleep mode. Moringa, straight from Thailand. Thank you, Papa. Yeah, so and then it's been nights where I'm like almost the entire night I'm awake, but my body's sleeping, and then I'm like, I just give up, and I'm like, okay, so my body's sleeping, but I'm awake. And it can last for hours. And I'm like, okay, so my body's sleeping. And it also does feel like it rested, but I was actually not sleeping, because I also wasn't not dreaming, like I was like fully like there. And then this sleeping thing has gotten so trippy now that ever since I found out, or like since this thing's started happening 2 months ago, and the sleeping thing already happened before I had a first seizure. But that's like after the seizures, I was like, whoa, I really need to like make sleep a priority, which is also like, you know, usually I do my best to be already sleeping at this time. And I made sleep a top priority, and also naps and stuff. And I asked people for help, or like my mom takes care of the kids so I can actually take a nap, because not both of the kids sleep anymore, or not sometimes they don't. And for me, not having to walk the stroller and then going home, and then I only have like a little bit, now I are taken and being provided stretches where like someone will do this for me, and I actually can sleep as long as my kids, and not like first making them sleep and then getting back home and then falling asleep. And that has drastically improved this whole, also the cataplexies and the trippiness of the brain with the sleeping things. Because what started to happen was I was thinking as I am talking to you now. So like fully like engaged beta mode in my head, not even alpha. Like I'm like trying to solve a problem or planning something. Like, yeah, I'm like inside the bed, but I'm like fully like, 100% engaged with brain capacity on a certain topic. And then it felt like, when you swipe your phone, it felt like from left to right, like whoop, scenery changed, and I'm like, oh, I'm in the brain, in the brain, I'm in a dream. I'm like, wait, what am I doing here? I was just thinking, and I'm like looking around. I'm like, and it's so crazy because it's like, I feel like it's on top of just being lucid. It's so weird because usually you have a time where you have a time frame of when you're falling asleep, right? You won't just enter REM like this, and it's like, okay, I'm dreaming, thinking, and I'm like I'm like, yo, I was just still thinking. Can I please go back? Because I still wanted to like think this through. And then I like swipe back, pull myself back, and I'm like, whoa, what was that? And then it like happened again where it like sucked me into the dream. And maybe at some point when I feel ready, and I don't know if I ever will talk about this, but this dream particularly, like this one that I'm referring to right now, even though it happened to other ones too, this was a childhood haunting dream that I used to have, and it was the same scenery. And I'm like, why the fuck am I in this freaking cave? I'm like, I'm thinking, I want to like finish this. I'm not dreaming right now. So I'm like waking myself up, stopping the dream, and it pulled me back. Pulled me back 3 times, yo. And then, and it's not the only time it happened. It's like, okay, I'm like laying down or with the kids, and then I'm thinking and observing everything. And at the same time, I start dreaming. And then I'm like, I'm mixing the two. And I actually think I'm awake, but I'm already dreaming. But they're fusing, where it gets so trippy that like also when I wake up, I'm like, wait, I have to take a little bit of time to differentiate and look at the environment. I'm like, okay, so this is different here. This thing that was just here in my dream is not, and I have to like pull them apart. Yeah. Or like, actually I feel like that has become pretty good because I'm also like using anchors and stuff. But yeah, like this like sensation of you're thinking and then you're suddenly dreaming, and then I'm like dreaming, also thinking. Like what also happened, I'm like telling a bedtime story and I'm so tired, I'm like falling asleep, right? Like while I'm still talking. And maybe this is just a funny thing. I think this has happened to other mommies too, and not a sleep disorder or something. But like, I'm telling a story, and then I'm like suddenly drifting off into sleep, and I'm like dreaming something already. Like I can already see the picture, yeah. But also like while I was speaking about the storytelling, obviously I'm also making a mental picture, yeah. So maybe it's similar, and that's why it like fades in. But like the story is about a kangaroo and like some, I don't know, apple picking or something, right? If apples grow in Australia. And then I'm like falling asleep while I'm still talking, yeah. And then the rest of the sentence will just like be complete nonsense. I'm like, the kangaroo turn on the washing machine, something like this, just like an example, right? Like where it like has no correlation, and then I like say something else because I'm like, I need to still keep telling the story, but it makes no sense. And then I'm like, I listen to myself, like I can hear myself still, because like I'm like in like almost like on the, say, dream space is here, wakefulness is here, yeah, and I'm like on this threshold, like I am walking on this threshold. And I'm like, I can hear what I'm saying, so I'm not fully asleep, but I'm saying something that I'm dreaming. Just tripping that. Yeah, so I think I'm talked out. I've talked for a long time. I'm super tired. But I feel very, so much appreciation that this was just possible for me today. Like, it's not even of what or whom or what or blah 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 blah, nothing, just the fact that I was able to sit here, move my hands, speak mostly normal, and yeah, thank you, body. And thank you for listening and being here with me, even though I could not see you right now in this moment. And thank you, because you're already here, because time is an illusion. So whoever is listening to this now in a different time, different day, a different space, was already here creating this field together, allowing me to express being witnessed. Look, I can use it all. I can use the. What?